Welcome back to Malaybay Wargaming. This is War on the Pacific Admirals Edition, a play-by-email campaign playing as Japan in Scenario 1. Now reviewing the setup for the December 28th, 1941 turn. Starting over in China, it's really just the Chuxin area where we've got some action going on. Due to my number of squad disablements, I'm going to basically allow these enemies to pull out. Meanwhile, I'm already pulling out of the adjacent hex, and what I'd like to do is just, once the enemy's clear, kind of reassemble my forces into a single group, and then try to ambush and surround the enemy armies as they pull out, probably down this road. So I'd like to intercept them right around here, right next to Nanchang. Bangkok and Rangoon, I've suspended bomber flights for the time being. Getting cap-trapped a little too much. Some good news on this front. Oscar production has ramped up pretty high right now. And what that's doing is, I'll show you when I get down to Malaya, but I've already replaced another squadron of Nates with Oscars. And as the Malayan theater gets taken over by the army, the Zeros that are deployed there are going to be free to go elsewhere, and the Zeros are basically going to follow the Bettys and Nels around. So this is a high priority theater for that. So once we free up some Zeros, they'll work their way here. But for now, the enemy's decided to make Rangoon a priority, and they're going to be able to keep it open for the time being. Enemy land forces are up to 40,000 and probably increasing. Those cruisers are probably escorting troop ships or supply runs. It is what it is. China's going to be well supplied for the time being. So, Malaya, as mentioned, so the recently upgraded unit is 1st Sentai, what are we going to call that, Bravo Division? Whatever we're calling them, they're not flying obsolete Nates anymore. Imperial Guards. So, in the after-action report for the last turn, I mentioned that these guys made, I think, 24 miles of progress when what the manual would indicate they could do is 60. Based on that, I went ahead and changed my mind and had them do strategic mode. And one nice thing is I actually didn't lose any time, because now it's saying it's only going to take them 2 days to pack. Before it was saying 3, so I guess I only wasted that extra day it was going to take me to pack anyways. So yeah, with 4 days packing time instead of 6, plus 1 day loss, so we'll call that 5 days. It was going to take me something like 12 days to march down to Malacca. So now we're looking at 5 days of packing and 1 or 2 days of transit, so the strategic option is definitely better. So we've got 2 tank regiments that are going to enter Malacca this turn, which means we'll have it next turn. That's going to open up an additional... The Western Rail line will go further when that happens, so we're going to be able to take these guys even further down. We've got units that have made it to Singora. They're going to be railing down to Kuala Lumpur, and then, by the time they get to Kuala Lumpur, Malacca will be open, so they'll head down that way. These guys here are unloading supplies. I started to get a little bit concerned about the supply levels at Mersing. We want to keep these guys well supplied in case the enemy makes any kind of a move on them and they start to expend lots of ammunition, but looking fine so far. On Borneo and Sarawak, going to be having an attack here. At Kuching, we've got engineers being moved down to Miri. Or was it Brunei? I think I wanted them in Brunei. Did I put them in the right base? No, I sent them to Miri. Yeah, that's stupid. Let's get into Brunei. 3, 2, 2. Yeah, we need to expand that port. As it stands, my first tanker run is here. The port is way too busy. We're unloading supply to repair the oil fields, and we're loading up a replenishment task force. So the tanker isn't the tanker task force isn't getting its attention yet. And part of the solution to that problem is bringing the engineers in to expand the port facilities. Over by Java, I've decided to accept that Carrier Division 2 has done what it can. It's headed home. We're going to head home back through this area. I don't want to go through these straits because there could be minefields or submarines waiting for me. And this tour around Flores and Timor gives me the opportunity for airstrikes on the way out. With Kendari basically being undamaged and Ambon still being under repair, and really the repair is just starting, I want to transfer my air HQ to Kendari almost immediately. So that is going to be the job of these. It's going to be the job of the task force that's at Kendari now. They should finish unloading this turn and then start heading back to Ambon, so we'll get them right back. I can't use the task force that's already at Ambon because they're loaded with infantry to try to take Namlia. I'm disappointed that that hasn't happened already. We've had some kind of glitches interfering with that. At Mindanao, I'm a little concerned that because the remaining enemy forces here are concentrating in a mountain base, that I'm not going to have enough to push them out, even though they're weakened units. So for now, my solution to that is these victorious troops from Guam, the 144th Regiment. They were going to kind of just sit pretty at Catabo, getting ready to go to Balikpapan. They're instead going to go to Cagayan. And if we need them to take Malaybay, they'll be there. The mini KB is back in Babeldoa where they belong. I'm going to be forward deploying them to Manado basically as a reserve in case enemy task forces start popping up, maybe trying to chase Carrier Division 2 down. We're doing pretty good as far as zeros go here. Part of the reason why my zero pool is depleted is because this task force started taking more aircraft. So it's not at full strength yet, but it's closer than it was. I've got an extra surface combat task force. We're going to rotate these guys in as the one that's already here is pulling out. So another opportunity perhaps to start picking off these random task forces that keep drawing attention. In the Solomons region, we have a little bit of a problem. The submarines that I've intended to kind of rebase to the Banda Sea don't have enough fuel to make it to their bases. The idea was to have them refuel at Truk and then rebase to Babeldoa. But now that I've looked at that situation, they're not going to make it to Truk. They're not going to make it to Rabaul either in most cases. So I've basically got submarines diverting to places like Panape, Nauru Island, or Rabaul, and I'm sending fuel out to those places so that if the submarines end up limping there out of fuel, we'll be able to gas them up and get them either to Truk if they need repairs or to Babeldoa as intended. As for Port Moresby, this is the amphibious task force. You can see the Kagas formed up with them right here. And I've transferred those slowpoke cruisers to the amphibious task force, so these guys are pretty well prepared. We've got, the cruisers will be able to soak up fire from the from coastal batteries if they have any, and then we've got 3 minesweepers with the task force that are going to be able to, once we get a little closer, I'll detach them, have them go on ahead, and see if we can take care of some of that mess before we get there. Akita Butai is still undetected. We're extending the patrol times of a lot of these submarines by switching their home port from Truk to Rabaul. There's also a submarine tender on its way to Rabaul from Truk, and then Truk's going to get a new submarine tender from Japan. So that'll probably arrive in a week or so. But we're trying to kind of have these submarines push outside the detection range from our land bases here, so that if there are enemy surface or carrier forces approaching, we'll get a little bit of an advance warning. And we're sending our commerce raiders down to that area too, for the same basic reason. So at Samoa, we have this task force where we picked one off, plus these guys. I'm almost tempted to send the KB here. It's not worth the distraction at the moment. Yeah, I mean, at this point I'm letting these guys go. I don't have any submarines operating in this area, so that just is what it is. Just going to have to wait for the next targets to come along. Additionally, the reserve attack submarines, as I call them, at the Marshalls have been activated and they're heading south. So that's who these 4 subs are. Once we get closer to an operational area, we'll go ahead and split them up. Basically, the job of these guys is going to be to try to provide more early warning for incoming task forces, and then they're going to sort of close the back door if there's any sort of naval or air combat involving the KB or any of my Port Moresby task forces and such. I want the attack subs guarding the way out, so we should hopefully be able to finish off damaged ships from those encounters. So one last thing to look at before I close this out. So this is, I don't look at the pilot list very often, but taking a peek at it here, you can see all 3 of the pilots that are high achieving enough to be on this list at the top section of this list. They're all from Yamada Detachment Sierra 1, and guess which one that is? It's this one. That's the one that's taking losses at Rangoon. So we can see the rather significant impact that the AVG is having on the war as far as our continued combat readiness in Thailand and Burma. All the more reason to wait to engage them until I'm a little bit stronger. Alright, so with that I will close this out and we'll see you for the combat replay. Haze Gray and underway. Combat replay in progress for December 28th, 1941. Getting chased down by an older boat over here. Doesn't seem like he's escorting anyone. Don't evade combat. Oh well, that's why I'm sending the second task force in. This guy's been chasing down subs for a while, so nice to get rid of this one, and he's not heavily damaged. This is one of the smaller ships out there. At least I would think a PC is pretty small. But he's going to survive. A dud. I don't know what that AMC is carrying. It would have been nice to have an exploding torpedo hit him. Maybe record some troop casualties. Oof. Come on, guys. Alright, well, one's better than none. I'm just glad we didn't lose any Nels to the Buffalo. We might actually have good weather here for once. Looks like we're getting quite a few hits. So that was an absolutely huge raid. Actually, that isn't that many hits considering the size of the raid. So maybe not the greatest weather in the world, maybe just a very, very large air raid. Well, they spotted our second task force. So these are the small squadrons flying out of Kendari, doing exactly what I intended for them. Even these 20mm cannons don't seem to be doing a lot of damage. Ooh. Been Mark 14'd. May have to see if I have any destroyers to spare that I can just send over there. Although I probably don't, with the KB and the Kaga leaving separately. I'm probably all out of destroyers right now. Hey, it's the same AMC again. We got it after all. And no troop casualties reported. Damn. So this is interesting. My assault odds were insufficient, but it's only the enemy taking casualties. You know what that means, right? Shock attack. What base is this? Malaybay. Let's see if we can break Iba. Fortifications to 0, 1-to-1 odds. Yeah, I should just send more. Alright, Batangas is ours. Destroyed 3 P-26s on the ground. Minimal casualties on our side. Well, that was kind of them. Yeah, I'm quite happy these guys surrendered instead of just retreating further down the rail. So that rail line is going to be open once Malacca's captured, and that'll go all the way down to Johor Bahru if I need it. Oh, alright, after a few bad turns for me, I'd say that was a pretty good one. Moderate point gain again, you know, back onto our sort of regular daily pace after 2 where we were pretty low, and that's mostly being caused by army losses. Air losses were almost non-existent in a sense this turn. Sure, there were, you know, 12 planes lost between both sides today, but it was really all on the ground. And even like the air-to-air kill we're getting credit for, which is a P-26, was actually a plane destroyed on the ground. I just think it's counting it as an air-to-air kill because it was shot up in the air and then was grounded because of that damage and never got repaired. And then the army arrived and took the base. But the P-26 is the only airplane that lost multiple numbers. All the rest are just single losses. And pretty much either operational or ground losses. The enemy took a flak loss because it keeps flying medium bombers against my battleships in the Dutch East Indies. So that is what it is. Ships sunk. The intel weenies can't make up their mind about the ISIS, so it's back on the list for now. Then there were also an AKL and a coastal minesweeper that were sunk. So briefly looking over this theater by theater, China we really didn't have anything going on other than some small units being routed, so we can just skip them. Malaya Theater, similarly, over across the straits at Borneo, we captured Pontianak. Other than that, routed a small base force that was between our bases. Pretty quiet in Malaya. Philippines. We had a lot of zero strafing PT boats with disappointingly little damage. Had a decent raid on Clark Air Base, causing moderate damage. At Malaybay in Mindanao, we had a deliberate attack. It was only the enemy taking casualties in that, so that's indicating to us that maybe we can get away with a shock attack to get that AV more on our side. And then headed back to Luzon. We had a deliberate attack at Iba. Broke even on casualties over there, so that just means we need to send more troops to get over the top. And then next to Manila, we captured Batangas. In the Dutch East Indies, our surface action group led by the ISE is retiring because they're low on ammunition. So they declined at least one instance of combat this turn. We sank 2 small ships, an AKL at Kopang by Nels flying out of Ambon, and then a coastal minesweeper was sunk by Vels off Makassar. The enemy, for their part, is flying medium bomber strikes against our battleships that are in the area, and not getting any result for that. And then off Hawaii, we torpedoed a patrol craft and an armed merchant cruiser. Neither were critically damaged, so we expect both of them to be able to be repaired. Alright, so that's going to do it for this turn. We will see you for the setup for the 29th. Thanks for watching.